Chapter 1. The Boy in the Corner. Main characters. Fukiara. Age, 15. Personality. Cheerful, energetic, talkative, kind to everyone. Appearance. Short blonde hair up to her neck. Some hair left down. 2 small ponytails. Big brown eyes. Outfit. Light pink long-sleeved shirt with shoulders showing. Cute black skirt. Special trait. Can make almost anyone smile, even the grumpiest person in school. Heizuki Kuro. Age, 16. Personality. Quiet, gloomy, dramatic, deeply emotional. Appearance. Black hair. Dark eyes. Wears only black clothes. Special trait. Has a very sad past and believes happiness is temporary. Story concept. Fuki is the happiest girl in school. She loves making friends, decorating her notebooks, and talking to strangers like they've known each other for years. Heizuki is the opposite. He sits alone, eats alone, and somehow makes even sunny days look depressing. One day, Fuki decides. He looks like he needs a friend, and I volunteer. Heizuki, however, did not volunteer. And so begins the funniest, most chaotic friendship in school. The Boy in the Corner, Fuki skipped up the school steps 2 at a time, her ponytails bouncing with every hop. "Good morning, world," she said to absolutely no one. The security guard blinked. "Morning, Fuki." She grinned. "You remembered my name. That means we're basically best friends now." He sighed. "I just read your name off your ID card yesterday." "Still counts." Fuki spun around and pushed open the classroom door. "Good morning, everyone." A few students waved. One girl nodded. Someone yawned. And then there was him. In the very back corner of the room, by the window, sat a boy dressed completely in black. Black hoodie, black pants, black shoes. Even his notebook was black. He was staring out the window like he was waiting for rain, even though the sky was bright blue. Fuki tilted her head. "Who's that?" she whispered to the girl next to her. "That's Heizuki," the girl said. "Don't talk to him." "Why?" "He's weird and kind of scary and super emo." Fuki's eyes lit up. "Really? That sounds interesting." Before the girl could stop her, Fuki marched straight to the back of the classroom and dropped into the seat next to him. "Hi," she said brightly. "I'm Fuki." Heizuki didn't even look at her. Silence. Fuki waited. And waited. Still nothing. "Okay," she said, nodding seriously. "I see how it is. You're the mysterious type. I respect that." No response. She leaned forward, peeking at his face. "Are you alive?" Slowly, very slowly, Heizuki turned his head. Their eyes met. His expression was completely blank. "I was," he said quietly, "until this conversation started." Fuki gasped. "Oh, you talk. That's great news." Heizuki turned back to the window. "I regret everything." Fuki smiled even wider. This was going to be fun. Part II, operation. Make the emo boy smile. The bell rang, and the classroom filled with the sound of chairs scraping and students talking. Heizuki stood up quietly, slung his black bag over his shoulder, and started toward the door. Fuki popped up from her seat like a spring. "Where are you going?" she asked, appearing beside him. He didn't even look at her. "Away from you." "Oh," she said thoughtfully, "so the cafeteria." He stopped. Very slowly, he turned his head toward her. "How did you know?" Fuki grinned. "Because that's where everyone goes at lunch, even mysterious shadow boys." "I am not a shadow boy." "You dress like the night sky," she said. "You're basically a walking eclipse." Heizuki sighed the deepest, sigh anyone had ever sighed in the history of sighs. Lunchtime. Heizuki sat at his usual table in the far corner of the cafeteria. No one else ever sat there. It was quiet, peaceful. Perfect. He opened his lunch, plain rice, No decoration, no color, no joy. Then, thud. Fuki dropped her tray onto the table and plopped into the seat across from him. Hi again. Heizuki stared at her like she had just fallen from the ceiling. Why are you here? She held up her tray proudly. Heart-shaped sandwiches. Strawberries. A tiny cupcake with pink frosting. Because lunch tastes better with friends. We are not friends. Not yet, she said, but give it time. He stared at her food. Then at his. Then back at her. Is that a cupcake? Yes, I made it this morning. For who? She smiled. Whoever needed it. Heizuki blinked. That's suspicious. Fuki leaned forward. Do you want it? No. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really sure? Yes. She slowly pushed the cupcake across the table anyway. Heizuki stared at it like it was a trap. What's in it? Sugar, flour, eggs, love. That last ingredient concerns me. 10 minutes later. The cupcake was gone. Fuki was watching him with sparkly eyes. Well, she asked. Heizuki wiped a crumb from his sleeve. It was acceptable. Her eyes widened. Acceptable, that's like the highest level of emo praise. It was merely not terrible. She clapped. Progress. Heizuki buried his face in his hand. Why are you like this? He muttered. Fuki tilted her head. Like what? Bright, loud, happy, it's unnatural. She smiled softly. Maybe, but someone has to balance out all your darkness. He looked up at her. For just a second, his expression wasn't gloomy. It was surprised. Then the moment passed. He stood up. I'm going to the roof. Fuki jumped up too. Great, I've never been on the roof before, let's go. You are not invited. Too late, she said, grabbing her tray. I've already emotionally committed. Heizuki sighed. Again. But this time, it wasn't quite as heavy. The rooftop. The rooftop door creaked as Heizuki pushed it open. A soft breeze brushed past him, carrying the faint smell of spring flowers from the school garden below. The sky was a clear, gentle blue, one of those days that felt too bright to be real. He stepped out and walked to the fence, resting his arms on the metal railing. Quiet. No noise. No laughter. No Fuki. Perfect. He closed his eyes. Footsteps. Fast ones. Wait, don't lock me out. Fuki's voice called from behind the door. Heizuki didn't even turn around. You found it anyway. The door burst open, and Fuki stumbled out onto the rooftop, slightly out of breath. Wow, she said, spinning in a circle. This place is amazing. Why didn't anyone tell me about this? Because it's supposed to be quiet, Heizuki muttered. She walked over and stood beside him at the railing. For once, she didn't talk. They both looked out over the school grounds. Students were like tiny dots moving around below. After a moment, Fuki spoke softly. You come up here a lot, don't you? Yeah. Why? Heizuki was quiet for a long time. Because it's the only place where people leave me alone. Fuki nodded slowly. That makes sense. He glanced at her, surprised she didn't argue. Most people are loud, she continued. And they talk a lot, and they laugh too much, and they drag you into things. Heizuki raised an eyebrow. You just described yourself. She grinned. Exactly, I'm very self-aware. He almost smiled. Almost. The wind picked up slightly, tugging at Fuki's ponytails. She leaned on the railing. Did something happen to you? Heizuki stiffened. What do you mean? Well, she said gently, people don't usually look at the sky like it betrayed them unless something happened. He looked away. You talk too much. That means I'm right. Silence again. The breeze felt colder now. My mom used to say this rooftop would be a good place to watch sunsets, he said quietly. Fuki blinked. She came here. No, she just liked rooftops. He paused. She said the higher you go, the smaller your problems look. Fuki smiled softly. That sounds nice. She died when I was 12. The words fell out of his mouth like stones. Fuki's smile faded. Oh. Heizuki's hands tightened on the railing. After that, everything just kind of went dark. My dad works all the time. The house is quiet. No one talks, no one laughs. He stared at the sky. So I stopped trying to be happy. It didn't seem worth it. Fuki didn't say anything for a moment. Then she reached into her bag. Heizuki glanced over. What are you doing? She pulled out a small, bright pink candy and placed it on the railing between them. For emergency happiness, she said. He stared at it. That's just candy. Exactly. Sugar is scientifically proven to make life slightly better. That is not real science. She shrugged. It's Fuki science. He looked at the candy again. Then at her. You're weird. She beamed. Thank you. Another quiet moment passed. Heizuki picked up the candy, unwrapped it, and put it in his mouth. It's too sweet. Fuki smiled. Yeah, but you didn't spit it out. He didn't respond. But for the first time that day, he wasn't looking at the sky like it was the enemy. The bell rang in the distance. Fuki stretched, back to class. Heizuki turned toward the door. Fuki. She stopped. Yeah. Don't tell anyone about what I said. She placed a hand over her heart. Your emo secrets are safe with me. He sighed. I already regret saying anything. She giggled and pushed the door open. As they stepped back inside, Heizuki glanced at the empty candy wrapper in his hand. Then he quietly stuffed it into his pocket, instead of throwing it away. The best friend appears asterisk. The next morning, Fuki burst into the classroom like a small pink tornado. Good morning, everyone. A few students waved. Someone groaned. One guy dropped his pencil in surprise. From the middle row, a girl with long chestnut brown hair, tied in a loose side braid, looked up from her notebook and smiled. There she is, she said, the human alarm clock. Fuki gasped, Mika. She sprinted across the room and tackled the girl in a hug. Air need oxygen, the girl wheezed. Fuki let go. Sorry, I just missed you so much. You saw me yesterday, the girl said flatly. Still counts. Meet the best friend. Mika Tanaka. Age, 15. Personality, calm, practical, sarcastic, secretly very caring. Appearance, long chestnut brown hair in a side braid. Warm hazel eyes. Usually seen with a book or notebook. Style, neat school uniform. Cardigan when it's cold. Special trait, the only person who can keep up with Fuki's energy and survive it. Mika leaned back in her chair. So, what chaos did you cause yesterday? Fuki sat down beside her, eyes sparkling. I made a new friend. Mika froze. Who? Fuki pointed dramatically to the back of the classroom. Heizuki was in his usual seat, dressed in black, staring out the window like he was waiting for a thunderstorm that would never come. Mika slowly turned her head back to Fuki. You talked to asterisk him. Yep. Voluntarily. Yep. More than once. Yep. Mika grabbed Fuki's shoulders. Are you trying to speedrun social disasters? Fuki blinked. What does that mean? It means, Mika whispered, he scares everyone. Last year someone tried to borrow a pencil from him, and he just stared at them until they apologized. Fuki gasped. That's amazing. That's terrifying. Across the room, Heizuki could feel them staring. He didn't look over. He already knew it was Fuki. Probably telling someone about him. Probably laughing. Probably. Hey, HSUKI. He closed his eyes. Of course. Fuki waved wildly from her seat. Mika slumped in her chair like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Come sit with us at lunch, Fuki called. The entire class went quiet. Mika whispered, please say no, please say no, please say no. Heizuki slowly looked at Fuki. Then at Mika. Then back at Fuki. No. The class exhaled in relief. Fuki smiled. Okay, I'll come sit with you again then. Mika dropped her head onto her desk. This is my life now. After class asterisk. Mika grabbed Fuki's arm. Okay, explain everything, slowly, and try not to say anything that will give me a heart attack. Fuki grinned. Well, first I gave him a cupcake. You what? And then we went to the rooftop. You what? And then he told me a little about his past. Mika's expression softened. Oh. Fuki nodded. He's really sad, like really, really sad. Mika looked toward the back of the classroom. Heizuki was packing his bag quietly. I kind of figured, she said. Fuki smiled. So I decided something. Mika narrowed her eyes. That tone never leads to anything good. I'm going to make him smile. Mika sighed. Of course you are. And you're going to help me. Mika pointed at herself. Me, why me? Because you're my best friend. Mika opened her mouth. Closed it. Then sighed again. Fine, but if he curses us with eternal darkness, it's your fault. Fuki clapped happily. Yay, Operation. Make Heizuki Smile officially has 2 members. From the back of the room, Heizuki glanced at them. He didn't know why, but he had a very bad feeling about this. Operation. Make Heizuki Smile asterisk. Mika stared at the whiteboard like it had personally betrayed her. Written in bright pink marker were the words. Operation. Make Heizuki Smile asterisk. Under it were hearts and sparkles and a badly drawn chibi version of Heizuki that looked more like a sad potato. Mika crossed her arms. Why did you draw him like that? Fuki tilted her head. That's not a potato, that's his soul. That is absolutely a potato. The plan. Fuki tapped the board with a pointer she definitely didn't need. Okay, step 1, give him something happy. Mika raised a finger. He hates happy things. Exactly, Fuki said. So he's not used to them, which means they'll be extra effective. That is not how emotions work. Fuki ignored her. Step 2, make him laugh. Mika blinked. Have you ever seen him laugh? No, Fuki admitted, but that just means we get to witness a rare event. Like a solar eclipse, Mika muttered. Exactly, but cuter. Attempt 1, the joke attack. During lunch, Heizuki sat at his usual table, eating his usual plain rice. Peaceful. Quiet. Safe. Then, Heizuki. Fuki and Mika dropped into the seats across from him. Heizuki slowly lowered his chopsticks. Why are there 2 of you now? Mika gave a small, polite wave. Hi, sorry about this. I'm being emotionally forced to participate. Fuki leaned forward. Okay, Heizuki, I have a joke for you. No. Too late. Why did the math book look sad? He stared at her. I don't care. Because it had too many problems. Silence. Complete silence. Mika looked down at the table. I'm sorry. Heizuki blinked once. That was the worst joke I've ever heard. Fuki gasped. That means you've heard it. Progress. Attempt 2, cute animal photos asterisk. Mika pulled out her phone. Okay, she said. Statistically, cute animals improve mood. She showed him a picture of a fluffy white puppy wearing a tiny bow. Heizuki looked at it. Then at her. It doesn't understand the cruelty of the world yet. Mika slowly lowered her phone. He outsaddened the puppy. Attempt 3, compliments. Fuki slammed her hands on the table. Okay, new strategy, compliments. Heizuki's eyes narrowed. That sounds dangerous. Fuki pointed at him. Your hair is very black. Thank you, he said slowly. And your hoodie is also black. Yes. And your shoes are also black, I know. Mika rubbed her temples. This is going horribly. Attempt 4, the snack strategy. Fuki reached into her bag and pulled out a small, neatly wrapped pastry. Emergency cinnamon roll, she said proudly. Heizuki stared at it. You carry pastries around. You never know when someone needs one. Mika leaned over. She literally has a snack pouch labeled emotional emergencies. Fuki pushed the cinnamon roll toward him. Heizuki hesitated. What's in it? Cinnamon, sugar, happiness. He looked at it for a long moment. Then took it. Fuki and Mika leaned in like scientists observing a rare creature. He took a bite. Chewed. Swallowed. It's warm. Fuki beamed. I kept it in my lunchbox with a heat pack. Another bite. Heizuki's shoulders relaxed, just a little. And then, very faintly, the corner of his mouth lifted. Just for a second. But it was there. Mika gasped. Did you see that? Fuki's eyes sparkled. He smiled. He actually smiled. Heizuki immediately covered his mouth. I did not. You did. It was like 0.3 seconds, but it happened. It was a muscle spasm. Mika whispered, we have proof. Operation successful. Fuki stood up dramatically. Phase 1 complete. Heizuki sighed, but this time it sounded softer. You two are exhausting. Fuki grinned. And you're smiling more already. He looked down at the cinnamon roll in his hands. Don't get used to it. But he didn't stop eating. Chater too, the girl who couldn't stand sunshine. The classroom buzzed with chatter as students returned from lunch. Fuki was happily explaining her 0.3-second smile victory to Mika using wild hand gestures. And then his mouth did this tiny thing, like this. She tried to copy the expression and ended up looking like a confused hamster. Mika snorted. You look ridiculous. That's because I'm acting out emotional growth, Fuki said proudly. From across the room, a sharp voice cut through the noise. Some people should learn when to stop being annoying. The classroom fell quiet. Fuki blinked. Huh. A girl stood near the door, arms crossed. Her long, straight black hair fell perfectly down her back. And her uniform looked like it had just come out of a fashion magazine. Her eyes were cold, focused. On Fuki. The rival appears asterisk. Rina Kisaragi. Age, 16. Personality, elegant, intelligent, strict, easily irritated. Appearance, long straight black hair. Sharp dark eyes. Always perfectly dressed. Reputation, top of the class. Student council member. Very popular, but also very intimidating. Special trait, absolutely cannot stand loud, cheerful people. Rina walked slowly toward Fuki's desk. The entire class watched in silence. You, she said. Fuki pointed at herself. Me. Yes, you. Oh, hi, I'm Fuki. I know, Rina said flatly. You're hard to miss. Mika whispered, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Fuki tilted her head. Did you need something? Rina crossed her arms. I need you to stop bothering Heizuki. The room went silent again. Fuki blinked. Bothering, I'm making friends. You're being loud, obnoxious, and forcing yourself into his space. Fuki frowned slightly. I'm just trying to make him smile. Rina's eyes narrowed. He doesn't need that. Mika swallowed. Fuki, maybe we should. No, Fuki said quietly. Both girls looked at her. For someone who says he wants to be alone, Fuki continued. He still eats the snacks I give him, and he talks to me, and he came to the rooftop with me. Rina's expression darkened. So you think you're special? Fuki shook her head. No, I just think everyone deserves someone who cares about them. For a moment, Rina didn't respond. Then she turned sharply. Just stay out of his life, she said coldly. You'll only make things worse. She walked back to her seat near the window. The class slowly returned to its usual noise. After school, Mika grabbed Fuki's arm the second the bell rang. Do you know who that was? Rina, Fuki said. She seems nice, just very grumpy. Nice, Mika whispered. She's the student council vice president. She has perfect grades, perfect attendance, and once made a teacher apologize to asterisk her asterisk. Fuki's eyes widened. Wow, that's kind of cool. Mika stared at her. You're impossible. By the gate. As Fuki and Mika walked toward the school gate, they spotted Heizuki leaning against the fence, waiting for the street to clear. Rina stood a few steps away from him. Not talking. Just there. Watching him. Fuki slowed down. Do they know each other? Mika nodded slowly. They've known each other since middle school, I think. No one really knows the details. Fuki looked at them again. Rina's expression softened slightly when she looked at Heizuki. But the moment her eyes shifted toward Fuki, the cold glare returned. Fuki smiled and waved. Rina did not wave back. Heizuki noticed Fuki, then looked between the two girls. He sighed. This is going to be a problem. The most ridiculous competition ever. It started with a rumor. By second period, the entire class was whispering about it. By lunch, it had become an official event. By the end of the day, it was chaos. The challenge asterisk. Fuki was happily eating her lunch when Rina walked up to the table. Mika immediately froze. I feel danger. Fuki looked up. Hi, Rina. Rina ignored the greeting. We're settling this. Fuki blinked. Settling what? Who is better for Heizuki? Fuki choked on her juice. Emimi, better, we're just friends. Rina crossed her arms. Then you shouldn't mind a simple competition. Mika whispered, say no, please say no. Fuki's eyes sparkled. A competition. She slammed her hands on the table. I love competitions. Mika dropped her face into her palms. Of course you do. The rules. By the end of lunch, a crowd had gathered in the classroom. Someone had written on the board. FUKI versus RINA, the showdown. Heizuki stood near the back, looking like he wanted to vanish into another dimension. I didn't agree to this, he muttered. Mika stood beside him. Neither did I, and yet here we are. Rina stood at the front, calm and composed. The competition will have 3 rounds, she announced. Fuki saluted. Yes, Captain. Rina ignored her. Round 1, academics. Round 2, athletic ability. Round 3. She paused. Who can make Heizuki smile? The class erupted. Heizuki looked like his soul had left his body. Round 1, academics. The teacher, who had absolutely lost control of the situation, handed them a surprise quiz. 10 questions. Math. Fuki stared at the paper. Why are there numbers? This feels aggressive. Mika whispered, just try your best. 5 minutes later, the papers were collected. Results. Rina, asterisk 100%. Fuki, asterisk 62% asterisk, with a doodle of a smiling cat on question 7. The class applauded. Rina nodded calmly, as expected. Fuki pumped her fist. I passed, that's a personal victory. Heizuki muttered, the bar is on the floor. Round 2, athletic ability. The class moved to the gym. The event, a short obstacle course. Rina stepped up first. She ran gracefully, hopped over obstacles, and finished with perfect form. Time, asterisk 14 seconds. The class clapped politely. Then it was Fuki's turn. Okay, she said, watch this. She sprinted forward, jumped the first obstacle, tripped on the second, rolled across the mat, somehow cartwheeled by accident, and slid across the finish line on her knees. Time, asterisk 13 seconds. Silence. Then the class exploded with laughter and cheers. Mika wiped tears from her eyes. I don't know how that worked. Rena stared at the timer. Impossible. Fuki raised her arms. Victory roll technique. Score. Rena, 1. Fuki, 1. Round 3. Make Heizuki smile asterisk. Back in the classroom, all eyes turned to Heizuki. He looked like he wanted to dissolve into the floor. I hate all of you. Rena stepped forward first. She placed a neatly wrapped lunchbox on his desk. I made your favorite, she said quietly, just like before. Heizuki's expression softened slightly. He opened the lid. Inside was a perfectly arranged meal. For a moment, his lips curved into a small, gentle smile. The class gasped. Smile, deity isitidi, someone shouted. Rena stepped back, satisfied. Fuki stepped forward next. She cleared her throat. Heizuki, she said seriously, I also made something for you. She placed a small box on his desk. He opened it. Inside was a tiny black cupcake, with a little face drawn on it. The face looked extremely sad. And underneath it, written in pink icing, even emo cupcakes deserve happiness. Silence. Heizuki stared at it. Then at her. Then back at the cupcake. A strange sound escaped his mouth. His shoulders shook. He quickly covered his mouth. But it was too late. He was laughing. Not a big laugh, but real. And warm. The class went wild. Mika jumped up. That's a full smile, with sound EFFECTS. The result asterisk. The board was updated. Round 1, Rena. Round 2, Fuki. Round 3, Fuki. Winner, Fuki asterisk. Fuki raised her arms. I dedicate this victory to friendship. Rena stared at the board. Then at Heizuki. Then at Fuki. This isn't over, she said quietly. But her voice wasn't as cold as before. Heizuki looked at the sad cupcake. I hate that I find this funny. Fuki grinned. That means it worked. He sighed. You're impossible. Thank you. The walk home. The final bell rang, echoing through the halls. Students poured out of classrooms, laughing, stretching, and complaining about homework. The sky outside had turned a soft golden color as the sun began to sink lower. Fuki stuffed her books into her bag. Today was fun, she said. Mika looked at her. You nearly started a war in the classroom. But it ended with a smile, Fuki said proudly. Mika sighed. Just try not to start another competition tomorrow. No promises. By the school gate, Fuki stepped outside and spotted a familiar black figure leaning against the fence. Heizuki. He looked the same as always, hands in his pockets, black hoodie, black bag, dark expression. Fuki's face lit up. Heiya Heizuki. He glanced up. You again. Of course, she said. I'm a recurring character. He pushed himself off the fence. I'm going home. Perfect, she said, walking beside him. Me too. He stopped. Why are you walking next to me? Because we live in the same direction, she said. Do we? I don't know, she admitted, but we'll find out together. He sighed. Of course. The street. They walked down a quiet road lined with small houses and trees. The air was cool, and the sunset painted everything in soft orange light. For once, Fuki didn't talk right away. She kicked a small pebble along the sidewalk. Heizuki noticed. "You're quiet." She looked up. "Am I not allowed to be quiet?" "You usually are." She smiled. "I just like the sound of the wind." They walked in silence for a few steps. Then Fuki spoke again. "Did you really like the cupcake?" Heizuki looked straight ahead. "It was acceptable." She grinned. "You keep saying that. It's the highest compliment I can give." "I'll take it." The corner. They reached an intersection. Fuki stopped. "Oh," she said, "I go this way." Heizuki looked down the other street. "Same." Fuki blinked. "Wait, really?" He nodded. "I live 3 blocks down." Her eyes sparkled. "That means we're neighbors." "Don't sound so excited about it." "Too late," she said. "I am." They turned down the same street. Small houses lined both sides, each with tiny gardens and mailboxes. Fuki pointed ahead. "That blue house is mine." Heizuki looked. "The one with all the flowers." "Yep, my mom loves gardening." They walked a little farther. He nodded toward a darker, quieter house. "That one is mine." It had no flowers. No decorations. Just a plain gate and a closed curtain. Fuki's smile softened. "Oh." He noticed her expression. "What?" "Nothing," she said quickly. "Just your house looks lonely." He didn't respond. The goodbye asterisk. They stopped between the 2 houses. Fuki turned to him. "Well," she said, rocking on her heels, "see you tomorrow, Heizuki." He nodded. "Yeah." She took a few steps toward her gate. Then turned back. "Oh, one more thing." He looked at her. She smiled brightly. "I'm glad you smiled today." He froze slightly. "You're still talking about that." "Of course," she said. "It was a big moment." He looked away. "It won't happen often." "That's okay," she said. "Once is a good start." She waved. "Good night, Heizuki." He watched her skip into her house, her ponytails bouncing. The door closed behind her. The street became quiet again. Heizuki stood there for a moment. Then he looked down at his bag. Inside, wrapped carefully in a napkin, was the sad cupcake. He hadn't thrown it away. "Ridiculous," he muttered. But as he walked toward his house, the corner of his mouth lifted, just a little. The Saturday concert. Saturday morning arrived with bright sunlight pouring through Fuki's window. She stretched in bed, her ponytails a mess from sleep. "Today's the day," she whispered to herself. She jumped out of bed, nearly tripping over her slippers, and rushed to her closet. Fuki gets ready asterisk. Her closet door slid open to reveal a colorful explosion of clothes. Pink, peach, pastels, ribbons, skirts, cardigans. She held up one outfit after another. Too fancy, too plain, too sparkly, too fluffy. Finally, she pulled out a soft, pastel pink top with slightly puffy sleeves and a cute black skirt with small silver buttons. "Perfect," she said. She brushed her blonde hair until it shined, then tied her 2 small ponytails. A little lip gloss. A tiny heart-shaped hair clip. She spun in front of the mirror. Concert ready. Then she grabbed the 2 tickets from her desk. Her smile grew. "I hope he says yes." Meanwhile, at Heizuki's house asterisk. Heizuki stared into his closet. Black hoodie. Black hoodie. Another black hoodie. Slightly different black hoodie. "Why do I own so many of these?" he muttered. He pulled one out and held it up. Then another. "This one is slightly less depressing." He put it on. Looked in the mirror. Still gloomy. Still emo. Still very, very black. Good enough. The knock asterisk. Knock knock. Heizuki froze. No one ever knocks. Knock, knock, knock. A cheerful voice followed. Heizuki, are you home? He sighed. Of course. He opened the door. Fuki stood there, smiling brightly, holding 2 colorful tickets. Good morning, she said. It's 10 a.m., he replied. That is not morning. It is for cheerful people. He stared at the tickets. What are those? She held them up proudly. Concert tickets. Concert. Yep, my cousin couldn't go, so I got 2, and I thought. She smiled. Maybe you'd want to come with me. Heizuki blinked. Why me? Because you need more happiness in your life. He sighed. What kind of concert is it? Pop rock. He stared at her. That sounds loud. It is. And bright. Very. And full of cheerful people. Absolutely. He paused. Then shrugged. Fine. Fuki's face lit up. Really? Yeah. She grabbed his wrist. Great, first stop, clothing emergency. The clothing store. Heizuki stood in the middle of a small clothing shop, looking deeply uncomfortable. Everything was colorful. Bright lights. Upbeat music. Sparkly jackets. He looked down at himself. All black. A sales clerk walked over. Oh, is this for a date? Heizuki choked. It is not a date. Fuki smiled. Not officially. He stared at her. What does that mean? Nothing, she said quickly. She grabbed a dark gray jacket and held it up. Try this one. It's not black. It's almost asterisk black. He sighed and took it. A few minutes later, he stepped out of the dressing room. Dark gray jacket. Simple black shirt. Dark jeans. Still his style, but softer. Fuki's eyes widened. Heizuki, you look cool. I look the same. No, you look like a mysterious band member. He stared at the mirror. Acceptable. Evening, time to go. The sun had set, and streetlights flickered on. Heizuki stood outside Fuki's house, hands in his pockets. He knocked once. The door opened. And he froze. Fuki stood there in a soft, flowy pink top, her skirt swaying slightly. Her hair was styled neatly, and her eyes sparkled under the porch light. She looked different. Still Fuki. But beautiful. Heizuki's face turned slightly red. You look. She tilted her head. Different. She smiled. Is that good different? He looked away. Yeah. Her smile grew. The concert. The venue buzzed with energy. Music thumped through the walls. Lights flashed in colors. People laughed and talked excitedly. Fuki grabbed Heizuki's hand. Come on. He stiffened slightly, but didn't pull away. Inside, the music exploded across the stage. Guitars, drums, bright lights. Fuki jumped with the crowd, singing along even when she didn't know the words. Heizuki stood still at first. Too loud. Too bright. Too much. Then he looked at her. She was laughing. Dancing. Completely lost in the music. And somehow, it didn't feel so overwhelming anymore. She grabbed his hand again. Just enjoy it, she shouted over the music. He hesitated. Then nodded. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't thinking about the past. He was just there. With her. And he was smiling. Lights, noise, and a secret asterisk. The concert roared to its final song. Bright lights flashed across the stage as the band played their last chorus. The crowd jumped, clapped, and sang along. Fuki was bouncing with excitement. That was amazing, she shouted. Heizuki stood beside her, hands in his jacket pockets. It was loud. But fun, right? He hesitated. Yeah, a little. Fuki beamed. The dramatic moment. As the lights dimmed and the crowd began moving toward the exits, Fuki grabbed Heizuki's sleeve. Let's go before it gets too crowded. They stepped into the hallway leading outside. But suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the venue. People shouted. What was that? Someone fainted. Call staff. The crowd began to push forward, panic spreading. Fuki's eyes widened. Heizuki. A wave of people surged toward them. Heizuki grabbed her hand tightly. Stay close to me. The crowd pressed in from all sides. Someone bumped into Fuki, and she nearly lost her balance. Heizuki pulled her behind him, shielding her with his body. Don't let go, he said. She nodded, gripping his hand. After a tense moment, staff members started directing people out calmly. The panic slowly faded, and the crowd thinned. They stepped outside into the cool night air. Fuki let out a long breath. That was scary. Heizuki looked down at her hand, still holding his. Yeah. Neither of them let go right away. The walk home. The streets were quiet now, the noise of the concert fading behind them. Streetlights cast soft yellow pools of light on the sidewalk. Fuki walked beside him, swinging their joined hands slightly. That was my first concert, she said. I'm glad it was with you. Heizuki looked forward. It wasn't that bad. She laughed. That's your way of saying you liked it. Maybe. They reached the corner near their street. Fuki looked up at him. You really protected me back there. It was just instinct. Still, she said softly, thank you. He felt his face warm again. You're welcome. They reached the spot where their houses faced each other. Fuki slowly let go of his hand. Good night, Heizuki. Good night, Fuki. She walked toward her gate, then turned back. Oh, next time we should try a movie night. He sighed. Of course. But there was no real complaint in his voice. Meanwhile, at Rena's house asterisk. Rena sat at her desk, reviewing notes from the student council meeting. Her phone buzzed. A message from one of her classmates. Classmate asterisk. Hey, did you know? Fuki and Heizuki were at a concert together tonight. Rena froze. Her fingers tightened around the phone. Another message came in. Classmate asterisk. They looked like they were on a date. Silence filled the room. Rena slowly set the phone down. Her reflection stared back at her from the dark window. So that's how it is, she murmured. Her expression hardened. This isn't over, Fuki. Back on the street. Inside his house, Heizuki leaned against the door after stepping in. It was quiet. Dark. Still. But something felt different. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the concert ticket. He looked at it for a moment. Then he smiled. Just a little. Acceptable, he whispered.